Hello, my name is Kenny Tao.
And my name is Ivan Nadame.
So today we're going to be discussing a major topic troubling many people, especially those in the state of California, flooding.
Yeah, floods can cause a lot of damage to many people's houses and homes. From a fact sheet in the Public Policy of America, Jeffrey Mount states that if there's another major flood, damages will end up totaling about $580 billion. And obviously, people will suffer from these floods, and the expenses to cover them are a part of that suffrage. Uh, Government bodies such as FEMA, the FCA, the USACE, the Department of Water Resources, and a whole bunch of other mouthfuls uh, have to do something to step in and start helping. Um, a lot of these floods occur pretty much from heavy rain, and the heavy rain translates to overflowing rivers. And when this happens, the rivers overflow, the levees and canals in the area also overflow. And when that happens, it just starts snowballing. It starts running in the streets and starts getting into people's homes. And essentially, multiple national, state, and local governments need to play their part by providing fencing that works as flood barriers around homes in high flood risk areas to prevent homelessness, property damage, and major insurance claims, along with other methods of flood prevention and protection.
Yeah, I believe in that. What is a recent issue of this?
Uh, Regarding flooding, I can remember back in 2017, in early 2017, um, two storms brought a lot of rain and snow, which resulted in flooding here. And pretty much this led to the Oroville Dam failing. And I remember just, packing bags and being ready to bug out if shit hit the fan. It was pretty scary what floods can do and the damage they can incur.
Yeah, many of the highways and roads are flooded because of that. Well, I remember a time a less significant, less major flood happened. This was around 2018. This was during my freshman year going to Rolinda High School. So I live around the area, and I remember my parents they were driving me to school. And as we were driving through the streets, I noticed that we were driving through water at least 8 inches high.
Yeah,
So yeah, so I looked to the fields or looked around my area, and I could see that fields were like flooded with water. And basically, it looked like a bunch of ponds and lakes out there. And then driving past the creeks and the levees there, I noticed that usually the water is pretty low there, but then the water was filled to the very top. It was just like a bunch of brown rushing water.
yeah,
And I remember I had to walk home one of those days. I was walking home on the bike trail, and it was like basically impossible to walk through without getting your feet wet. And the water was about like 3 inches high on the bike trail, and I had a 45-minute walk home. So I had to walk home with wet socks, and like it was super uncomfortable.
yeah,
And like it's something I hope that no one will ever have to go through because
yeah,
it's just so uncomfortable.
yeah. That sounds like a pain. So I mean, in order to prevent wet socks, uh, what could we do to, what could government bodies do to solve this?
Well, uh, the first and most viable method it'll probably be one provided by the California Emergency Management Agency. So, what they're doing is it consists of building a low cost flow problem that represents the movement of more than 1 million people in counties. So, this low cost flow problem, it will help a lot of people out. So many people want it to happen. It will provide solutions for like over 490 possible scenarios.
Okay, nice.
And I think that another solution would be building floodgates around houses in flood areas, because I believe homes in these high risk areas should have them installed.
Yeah,
So this will come out of the budget from taxes and like also donations from other bodies that want to support this idea. So having these gates installed, it'll prevent water from entering the house, and this prevents major property damage. So yeah, so these floodgates will be designed around the homes, around the perimeter, so they'll act as fences even when there aren't any floods. And if there is, well, you're pretty much going to be safe. The reason why I say this because in a Flood Control America video I saw that in Indiana they added these floodgates barriers along the Mississippi River.
mm,
So they done this to so if the river ever overflows, they'll have these walls to protect homes and businesses from that damage. So I believe that this type of technology can be brought to California, and then using the same barriers, it could be added around the homes. I believe this because spending millions of dollars to help build these gates around homes, they'll prevent spending billions of dollars to repair them.
that's true. That's really true. The cost effectiveness sounds very like I don't know, appetizing or appeasing.
Yeah.
Piggybacking off of the river part. I think my a method that I found would be to like let the rivers run their course. Most
Mm.
most like flood prevention includes like it includes diverting the water in a river to a man-made path or canal, which most of the time ends up getting overflowed if there's too much water. In an article published by a scientist who specializes in the studies of rivers and wetlands and such, he insists on letting the rivers flow as they were made. Um, Positioning levees at the end of the rivers at the ends of like wetlands and stuff would reduce overall flooding and has the added bonus of instigating vegetation growth, and it's also cost effective. It's a lot less to maintain and it's a lot less to maintain and easier to implement um, and stuff like that. But
Yep.
yeah, but coming back to the floodgates, what would be the best way to install them and how could we use them?
Well, the floodgates, they'll just be installed like how fences are installed uh, around homes. But the thing with these floodgates is that they are removable. So if you don't really want to use them during like a season that there's not a lot of floods, you can always just take them off and move them elsewhere. So they don't have to be permanent if you don't want them to be. And yep, that's pretty much how it'll work.
Those floodgates sound really, really efficient.
Hmm.
Yeah. Huh. Well, this is about all the time we have, but I feel like, we came up with some very valuable methods and solutions to help prevent and protect against flooding in California.
Yep. Yep. You also came up with a very good solution as well.
Thank you. Thank you. So, seeing as this is all the time we have, we'll be signing off, but uh, we'll be back at it soon. See ya.
All right. See ya.